Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's the crack?
On episode 198 of the Shite podcast show.
Yeah, definitely not 6 away from something.
Be something else. Yeah. Well, we have certain things in place.
Wheels are in motion.
Wheels are in motion. Stuff is turning, and yeah. So I have one thing sorted, but we can. I'm a little bit more optimistic now than I was maybe a few weeks ago, when I didn't have anything and didn't have any ideas. I still don't have a lot of ideas, but maybe it's just I've become more acceptant of what's to come.
I think it's somebody somewhere had an idea.
Oh yeah,
that's what I think it is.
Yeah, someone else had an idea, and I'm just taking their idea. But anyway, we don't have to worry too much about our special show that's coming up. And it's not coming up in 2 episodes' time, which is just who cares about 200 when there's something else coming up after 200? That's so much more better. We have such a big show today that we don't need to worry about anything else other than simply trying to get through all the crap that we have to get through. I thought we were going to be struggling for stories before I did research this week.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to be as well when I started looking into stuff.
The Euros are on, there's restrictions everywhere. There's it's either COVID or football. 2 things we know very little about.
We kind of know a little bit about COVID at this stage.
Oh yeah, I think everyone knows a little bit about COVID at this stage.
And all I know about football is it's a bunch of lads chasing a bit of leather around the place.
I thought we were going to have to do a kind of Joe Duffy inspired show this week. I thought we were going to be so struggling about it. We're just going to have to give out a bit of restrictions. So I was we need to just get people angry. And then then luckily enough, the internet was kind this week.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard to find stuff.
Yeah.
After I actually didn't come into any kind of pages and stuff where I normally find my stories. I didn't find anything that was kind of about the Euros on them. I
started my research just after England bet Germany. So I seen a little bit there, and I think they were in the process of writing articles at that stage. So I probably just got in before the tide. I imagine if I'd done it today, maybe there'd be a good bit more. But yeah, I didn't see a huge amount of football stuff. So yeah, I was kind of lucky myself. Thought we were also going to have to go down to the Joe Shilling thing that happened. I was maybe we talk about that, but we don't even have to mention Joe Shilling.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking we might have to talk about that too.
Yeah, but I think we'll leave that one to be, because we have a John Cena style story coming up in the show, so we don't need a Joe Shilling one. And you have John Cena.
Yeah, who needs him?
Then we have burying someone. No, we don't even have burying someone alive. That's for next week. We have an exorcism story, and I don't know anything about this exorcism story. We decided to do all our idiots of the week at the start, so we're going to get off on a bad foot, but we're going to lighten the road. So our idiots of the week this week is a John Cena style story, an exorcism style story. A woman who mourns her husband has made it onto our idiots of the week.
Yeah,
and then
that might seem like an odd one, but wait for it.
Yeah, and so that's our idiots of the week there. Those 3 stories. So then there's a woman who, I think she's the idiot of the week adjacent. She's not quite she's not idiot, but she's really bad at a certain skill, and that skill is cooking. And generally, if you're bad at cooking and you're in a relationship, you just leave it up to the other person or to take away down the road in order to feed your family. She decided no, even though she's not that good, she's just going to cook anyway, and she's going to make her husband eat it. So she's like an idiot of the week adjacent. So there's a story about that coming up later on in the show. And then there's a lot of idiots of the week adjacent, because Ken thought this next story was an idiot of the week candidate. I thought no, it's also kind of is adjacent. Okay, the guy in the story is definitely an idiot but it's Okay, it's basically about a guy suing his Tinder date. I didn't think it wasn't Idiot of the Week. Ken definitely did. Ken never been on Tinder. Mark recently off Tinder.
Have you ever sued a Tinder date?
No, but like I have sympathy for lads on Tinder. I have more sympathy for girls, I should say, than lads on Tinder. To be honest with you. But we're going to see why I don't think he's an idiot of the week. Well, I kind of do think he's an idiot, but I don't think he's idiot. It's idiot week adjacent. It's like an offspring of idiot of the week. It's idiot week adjacent. So like, there's a lot of negativity in our podcast this week. So I decided.
Isn't there every week?
There is every. If I said it every week, we just call people idiots. We slag off countries. We defamation, and that's basically our show. It's just defamation, libelation, and just slagging off a country who doesn't deserve to be slagged off by two idiots from Ireland. So I decided to do something nice. I decided to have our legends of the week, and this is like we sometimes every now and give say, "Oh, this guy's a legend of the week." We never like go over our way to make a couple of people a legends of. If it happens kind of a thing. So I have two guys who I think are deserving of the title a legend of the week, and I'll talk about that later on in the show. Yeah, and I think that's basically our show. We'll finish off on a good note.
Finish off on a positive for once.
Yes, finish off on a positive note. But like, there's a whole load of stories we could have talked about today. There's even more that we didn't even have in our notes that we could have talked about. Today's a full pack show. Like any day that you have John Cena conversation, it's going to be a full pack show.
Yeah.
So we might as well get into it. And we start off with our Idiots of the Week. Now, if you're new to the podcast, the Idiots of the Week is created for idiots, by idiots. And it's about people doing dumb things. And the first Idiot of the Week is a John Cena style story. I don't have the headline of the story because it's Ken's story, so I'm going to let Ken take away from here.
So there's this guy, he's 23 years old, and he shared a story on, I'm assuming on TikTok, because everybody's sharing stories on fucking TikTok.
Yeah, it's only TikTok right now.
But he's also talking to his son, and he shared a story about how he woke up with a hangover and then realised that he had changed his name on a bet to John Cena.
How did he find out that he changed his name to John Cena? Did he have the official search for changing your name?
This is a good question, Mark. And yes, he had the official search. And he had passport application, driver's license application. Everything was changed to John Cena.
Like, normally you have to go into a building, wait in queue for a passport. Like, it's hard to renew your passport on a drunken mistake.
So, right, this gets even better, right? Because first of all, he's not even a wrestling fan. He hates wrestling.
All right.
So he doesn't like wrestling. He's changed his name to John Cena. He spent £40 for 6 deed poll documents as proof of his new identity for the bank and for the passport office and stuff. Then he spent £75 ordering a new passport in his new name. And basically, he's happy enough. He's going to keep the name. Like he's like, fuck it, I'm going to just go by John Cena.
It'd be more of a hassle to change at this stage. I might as well stick around.
The problem he has now is he told his mother.
Yeah.
And she's fairly laid back, so she kind of like just had a laugh at it. But she kind of told him, like, don't tell your dad because like, he's going to be very angry.
Yeah, I imagine if you go to your dad and you say, hey, I changed my name. I'm no longer your surname. I am now John Cena. And his dad's going to be like, who? And then then your man's going to be like, you can't see me. And he's like, I still don't get it. He's like, oh, he's a wrestler. Like The Rock. Yeah.
Except not The Rock.
he's like a younger version of The Rock. He's like, he also does movies. Have you ever seen Fast and Furious? He's in the next one.
Yeah.
But like, I have so many questions about this because for like a passport application, you need to like get Garda to sign the back of your photos. Maybe you don't have to anymore. Maybe everything's went online because of COVID. Maybe this
I
is
see.
like,
He doesn't, but he doesn't need any of that because he has the deed poll documents proving that he changed his name.
oh, so he just basically sends them in, says, "Here, look."
He just sends them off.
It's amazing that you can do this without speaking to anybody at 2:00 in the morning, and ew. Does it say what the bet was? What he lost the bet on?
No, they dared him to change his name.
Oh, it was a dare. What age is this guy, by the way? Does it say what age?
23.
23.
Yeah.
Like, if he was like, like, if you're in primary school or high school. Primary school? What's primary school?
Primary school is elementary school.
Elementary school. So if you're in elementary school and someone dares, you have to do it. And any kids out there listening to the podcast, between the ages of 5 and 13, if someone dares, especially if it's double dare, no matter what it is, no matter how dangerous it is, you have to do it. That's simple. That's child law right there. But after the age of 12, when you are in secondary school or high school, you don't have to do shit. By the time you're 23, if someone says jump off a building, don't jump off that building, you tick. Like, you might have a little bit of cop on. So someone dares him, even though he's not a wrestling fan, to change his name.
And off he goes and does it.
Would there be any name out there that you change your name to?
That I would.
Yeah, that you're like, oh, that's a cool name. Like Max Power.
Max Power. Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah, Bruce Wayne's a good one. Or James Bond.
Yeah. James Bond would be a good one too.
Yes. So my full name is Mark Paul James. So when I was coming up to my confirmation, and you have to pick a name, you're meant to pick a saint. I thought you could just pick any name you want. So I wanted to pick Bond. So my full name would be Mark Paul James Bond Kearns. I'd cut out the slack and just have James Bond.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Jesus and they wouldn't let me.
I want a big J. I want a big J as my name.
Yeah, they won't let me pick Jesus, and I wanted to pick. Since they won't let me pick Jesus, I wanted to pick Lucifer, and they won't let me take that either.
I want God as my Christian name. Well, you can't have him. You can't have him.
That's what they told me. They told me Jesus isn't a Christian name, and I was like, Jesus. What do you mean Jesus isn't a fucking Christian name?
Yeah, no, you're not meant to take the Lord's name in vain. So you're not really meant to say Jesus.
Like he fucking started it. It's the ultimate Christian name.
Yeah, it's actually the first Christian name. Yeah, but I thought he only can pick saints, and like I imagine if I was a priest trying to explain why you can't have Jesus, at the end of your name, it'd be like he's not actually a saint. So you have to pick a saint. He's like over the saints.
Yes. Then I went with Stephen.
Stephen. Who do I go with? I think I went to Andrew.
I went with Stephen after Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Saint Steve Austin 316.
Yeah.
Saint Steve Austin. Yeah. I think Andrew's Saint Hopeless Cases. Basically describes my life.
That fits in well.
It fits in well. At the age of 11, I already knew it was downhill from here. I think it was 9 when you make your confirmation, isn't it? Yeah, 9 or 11. So we have.
No, it's fucking 12.
There's actually 11 or 12, whatever. 9, 11 or 12. It's close proximity. There's actually a TV series that was in America back, I think, early 90s, when reality was the biggest thing. Reality TV was the biggest thing in the world, and it was basically the synopsis of the show was ordinary people who had famous people's names, and basically they swapped lives. So there was a Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson was a male nurse. So, like, it was either early, very, very early 90s. Mike Tyson went to live with a man's family while he went to live Mike Tyson's life. Like, Mike Tyson, like, was a convicted rapist.
Yes, your man went to prison.
Yeah, your man just went back to basically to prison. Like, yeah, imagine like he was a scary guy. Yeah, so the actual Mike Tyson's gonna live in he had like a wife and 2 daughters.
Yeah,
He had recently bit a guy's ear off. He didn't like people mention it. And basically, he went to work. Actual Mike Tyson went to work as a male nurse, while your man just basically punched bags, got his hair cut, and be a very, very, very watered down version of Mike Tyson.
and threw his wife down the stairs.
Yeah, exactly. He got basically his wife was like, yeah, she had consented to it. He's like, yeah, he does it to me all the time anyway, so I might as well let you have the full Mike Tyson experience.
Yeah, you signed up for the full experience, right?
I imagine this guy has to go beat John Cena. I think he has to learn Mandarin. He has to go work out at 4:00 in the morning.
Has to discover how to become invisible.
Yeah, has to deny that like Wuhan, or not Wuhan, that Taiwan's the actual place. Taiwan does not exist.
So says John Cena.
Yeah, that's what John Cena believes. He'll tell you. As long as there's a camera around, he'll tell you. Yeah, so like, I thought that was mad. So we'll move on from John Cena, the new John Cena, and onto exorcisms. This is also another one of your stories, so I'll let you explain to our audience.
Yeah, so there was cops in Lackawanna, I think that's how you say it, county in Pennsylvania, were called to a Home Depot to break up a seance or an exorcism. When they got there was a bunch of people in the lumber aisle basically performing some sort of a seance or an exorcism for the dead trees, and we're trying to contact the spirits of the trees or some shit. So they all just basically got fucked out.
Yeah, like I actually had an idea of. I still have the idea. I have a beautiful mind. I create ideas. People should listen to me. Basically, is what I'm trying to say here. I have an idea that instead of having graveyards where you bury someone under the ground and forget about their grave, and basically all the plants rot around it, you get cremated and then you bury the ashes and plant a tree, and then put a little plaque on the tree with the person who is cremated and is now going to be absorbed by the tree. So you basically, instead of having graveyards, you have forests of dead people's relatives.
Some people already do that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it would be just a lot nicer to walk around a forest full of with all these names instead of a graveyard. It's a little bit depressing.
Graveyard's a little bit depressing. It's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, but still it is. And it takes up a lot of space. A forest is probably good for the environment.
Also takes up a lot of space.
But it's good for the environment. You get something back. There's like a little bit of a catch back. So I can understand is maybe all these relatives were in the trees and they tried to contact their dead relatives. Or maybe, I don't know, if they're just trying to contact the spirits of the trees. They're trees, they don't talk.
Yeah, but mental people don't understand that.
If a tree talks to you, it's probably not the tree that's talking to you. Imagine trying to use that in a court of law why you did something. They're like, the trees told me to do it. They're talking to us now. They're not liking all this wood around.
And too much wood, man.
Too much wood. We need to regress.
Regress.
Yeah, but and was it where they were doing the exorcism? Was it a plant store? Was it a kind of a gardening store? Is that a Home Depot or is it a hardware store?
It's like a hardware store.
So basically, they broke into this hardware store, and at the plant section of their hardware store, they're doing seances for the trees that are on sale.
Yeah.
And did they work there?
No, they were just random people that came in.
Random. Oh, so it wasn't like they broke in. They were just pretending to be customers, seeing these trees that they were trying to speak to them. So they're like, "We will speak. Let me say
the cops said the cops released an official statement about it, saying that they got loads of calls about all these weird people in Home Depot that were exercising trees.
But surely a member of staff comes over and goes, "Sorry, you can't do that here. Would you please leave?"
Yeah,
like,
they refuse to leave.
All right, so then the staff then called, because it'd be weird if like other customers are there going like, instead of getting like the store manager telling them to get the fuck out of the store, or like they just like, who do we call? The police? The Ghostbusters, surely.
Yeah, call Ghostbusters. Call fucking Dermot Bannon.
Yeah, call Dermot Bannon. No, he'd agree with the seance. He's like, no, let the tree speak. Let them have their words. Because he's like saying stop cutting grass and all.
What?
Isn't Dermot Bannon the one that's like, stop? You're not allowed to cut your grass. Stop cutting grass for the bees, or something like
Dermot Bannon's like the fucking.
That's Dermot Gavin then.
The architect lad.
All right, Dermot Gavin is the gardener lad then.
Stop cutting your grass.
Yeah, we're making very niche references here.
It's okay. People will look it up.
Like,
if I've learned anything over the last year, it's that people like to look into it.
Look into it. Like, our third biggest base is Spain. Like, and it's catching Ireland. I don't know if our Spanish listeners know who Dermot Bannon or Gavin is, but maybe they will look into it. Become fans.
Yeah, look into it.
Look into it, bro. So yeah, basically, they're just two gardeners and architects that sometimes team up, become the double Ds of Ireland.
The double Ds.
They really can solve anything they put their mind to it.
Yeah.
So the next story is, and our final idiot of the week, is a woman who is mourning her husband, which seems like a very tragic thing that she has to do. Seems weird that me and Ken, as heartless as we are, would put her on idiots of the week. I'm just going to distance myself and say Ken said she is definitely an idiot of the week. I don't know the details of the story. Ken done the idiots of the week. I did everything else. Well, not everything else. I did most of the... I did some of the other stories.
So this woman, she's 26 at the time that her husband died. She'd known him for 15 years, and they'd been married for 14 months, and he was 39.
So, like, she's 24. Sorry for cutting into it.
Yeah, she's 26.
She's 26. They're 14 years together.
No, she met him first met him 15 years beforehand.
All right, fair enough.
So she first met him when he was 11, and he was 24.
Yeah. Whoa, what? All right.
Yeah, so like he's 39. He died when he was 39.
All right, fair enough. All right.
So she first met him when he was 24 and she was 11. They'd been married for 14 months, and he died from some sort of stomach-related issues. And she's in deep mourning about it. And she said she's never going to love again. She's never going to get married again. She said, like, it's because I love him, and not in the way that you would love a man. It's just pure love that I have for this animal, because her husband was a dolphin.
All right. Her husband was a dolphin who died of stomach-related... How does she know he was suffering from stomach-related things?
Because he lived in a water park.
He lived in... And did they have an official, like, wedding?
There's a photo of her in a wedding dress and him, like, giving her a kiss. So, yeah.
Why are women mad? Why are they the crazy species of the two of us? We're the idiots, but they are definitely insane.
And there's also an offshoot. There's an offshoot story here at the end as well.
Right.
But there was a woman in Devon, in England. She was in the most intimate and reliable relationship she's ever had. She's 49 years old. She had a wedding planner plan her wedding, and she had a big celebration. And she had married her duvet. Her duvet? Yeah.
That has to be the oddest one ever, because we have a list, and I was like, while you were talking there, I was actually thought back, because like, it's always women who marry things, like objects. Yeah. But then I realised we had a story about a guy who married a sex doll called Margaret Robbie.
Yeah.
Or Margot. So like, okay, every now and again a lad gets through the net of the crazy people who want to get married. But he divorced that sex doll to marry a sex doll that was also a chicken. Okay, he's just as bad as a lot of them. But it's generally like, there is a lot of women who just I don't know. Maybe she's only 24, I guess. So like, I'm not going to be ageist here and say maybe they hit a certain age and give up and start marrying objects.
Like, I don't understand. Like, this woman with the dolphin. The dolphin's name is Cindy.
Yeah.
And the woman is described as a multi-millionaire. And her name is Sharon. And she works as a band manager. So, like, she can't be stupid if she's, like, she manages bands and she's a multi-millionaire. So she can't be an idiot.
Yeah, it isn't like she got her money through inheritance. Like, there's just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you're smart. She's just mental. She's just insane, and yeah, like,
well, this is actually the best part. So I was just reading up here even more. So does it say where she's from? It doesn't say where she's from, but like her name's Sharon, so I'm assuming she's from like. And she's talking to the Daily Star, so I'm assuming she's from like some sort of an English-speaking country. Like she's from maybe England, or she's from the US or Australia somewhere.
Yeah, you really narrowed it. She's on the.
Yeah, but like I'm assuming she's not.
I was waiting to you're doing like this detective work. He's like, oh, she's just talking to the Star, so I take it she's from Devon. Her name is her name is Sharon. I don't think she's like. I'm not saying there's no Sharons in Australia, but there's probably not any Sharons in Australia that are born there naturally. Like I'd imagine, yes, she's probably from England or Ireland, because they're quite like US, Canada. I don't think you get Sharons. You get Karens.
You probably get the odd Sharon, but like
let's just like go out and whimper. It's not unlike us, and say the vast majority of Sharons come from Ireland and England.
Yeah, probably fair enough. Yeah,
fair enough. Okay, so she's from either of those places, and if she's from Ireland, it's Sharon, not Sharon.
Chardon.
Pure classy.
Chardon, your dinner's ready. Chardon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she spent like a shitload of money over the last 15 years, right? Traveling from wherever the fuck she lives to see this dolphin in his water park in Israel.
Israel?
Yeah.
I was like, because I was going to say, did they say how they met? Maybe it was like a time in her life where she was going through stuff. And she went to a water park by herself, and they caught each other's eye, and
she just said that when they exchanged their vows, obviously she said I do, and Cindy just clicked an agreement.
Clicked?
Yeah, you know the way like dolphins go.
Was it like South Park, where it was one click for yes, two for no?
Yeah.
And then start clicking, it's like yes.
Yes.
You agree twice. But yeah, it's mad that the owners of said dolphin allowed this thing to happen. Because like surely
they were probably just like, yeah, we'll take your fucking money.
But like surely then it's like buying a dolphin. Getting married is like, I'm not saying like this is backfired on me. Well, I'm not saying just because you get married you own a person. But like you're in a bind relationship. Surely, like, does it mean she can take the dolphin?
Who knows? Well, she didn't.
I know she didn't. But like, surely we're married, so we're gonna go live together. And they're like, where are you gonna put him? I was like, how are you gonna get him home to England?
Yeah.
How are you gonna get the UK or Ireland? I imagine she's an Irish. I imagine it would be on the TV over here. That there's an Irish female millionaire.
Somebody would have contacted Joe Duffy.
Yes.
Chardon's got a fucking dolphin.
There's a woman called Chardon. She's going to Chardon, and she's got a bleeding dolphin.
Yeah.
Sharon's online too.
Yeah, we've got Sharon online too.
We got Sharon. Talk to Joe.
Yeah, Sharon. Yeah.
Sharon, how did you meet? What's his name now?
Joe Duffy's going to sue us.
He's getting great publicity of us. He's going to get a fuckload of foreign listeners listening.
We've mentioned him a couple of times now.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks in a row. Our big surprise guest, we know who's going to be. Talk to Joe.
Talk to Joe.
Yeah, so like Sharon is she's devastated over losing her dolphin, and no one has dared say there's plenty more fish in the sea. Have they? No one has said that to her.
Oh, I hope somebody has said that to her.
Download her a profile of plenty of fish. Get a male equivalent of plenty of fish, but its profile is a dolphin. Match with her. It's probably too soon for jokes for her.
For poor old Shardon.
But yeah, it's like the duvet. Like we're giving Shardon a hard time over the dolphin. There's like you mentioned, there's a woman who's married a duvet, and we just glossed over the fact that like there's a woman who married a duvet, and we're like slagging her about marrying a captured animal.
Yeah.
But does it go into any detail about the mental alert that like married a duvet?
No, there's no detail on that one.
Yeah, but like I don't know if it happens to everybody. Imagine, because we obviously had your man who married the sex doll, so it's not sex specific. Like, is it just something that happens in people's lives that they like something happens to them that they lose their will to live? Like your man's like has his own house. He seems successful enough. I imagine you're one who's now married to a duvet, or the woman who married a tree. There's been a few women who married a tree. Yeah,
there's a woman that married the London Eye as well.
Yeah, there's a woman who married a tree, but also has a boyfriend, like a human boyfriend.
Oh, a real boyfriend.
A real boyfriend. Like I don't know how he feels about his wife being married to a tree.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he feels great about that now.
Well, if she's able to see other people, surely he's able to see other people. Or is it just like he's only able to see objects?
Yeah, he's allowed to see other objects.
Yeah, he's not allowed to see other people. That's different. I wonder how she feels then if that is the case about dolphins.
She feels about that.
Or walruses. Yeah, I wouldn't say she'd be too happy if he come back with a walrus.
With a walrus?
Yeah. There's the one floating around Wales, sure. Yeah, so that was our idiots of the week. And like now we move on to our idiots adjacent. So it's just people who are a little bit silly.
A little bit silly, yeah.
It's just a little bit silly. I haven't made idiots of the week. And yeah, so basically this is one about a woman who can't cook. And I'm pretty sure she knows she can't cook. So like I don't know about you. Do you take turns when it comes to cooking in your house, or are you not really?
It's kind of 50-50. Like sometimes you just cook your own dinner and just say like fuck the other one.
Yeah, exactly. You have separate diets. Yeah. But like both of you, you both know how to cook, and you aren't completely useless.
Well, I know how to cook some things.
Yeah. I have like a select 4 dishes that I can do all right, and so that's my ballpark. I don't try to go out of my comfort zone when it comes to that, but I can do those 4 dishes reasonably well.
Yeah, like I'd be more of a mixologist.
What do you mean mixologist?
I can make you any sort of an alcoholic drink you want.
Oh, right. So you like, she prepares the meal, you prepare the drinks, the cocktails to go after the drinks.
Yeah. I'm the alcoholic.
Yeah, basically. You're the bartender, she's a chef.
Yeah.
I know in my family, my mum would traditionally have made all the meals, but my dad had a meal. It was like Christmas dinner was his time to shine. Like he'd go up at 5:00 in the morning, he stuffed the turkey, made the turkey breast. That was the only time I've ever seen him cook in my life. But he did Christmas dinner every year. He cooked once a year, and that's Christmas, and we have the same type of dinner at Easter. So that was it. So there's generally it is basically down to one person. I think that is generally changing with times. It's kind of more of a 50-50 split. And especially if you're living with someone who's completely useless at cooking, generally you'll pick up the slack because you don't want to be like have a bad tummy afterwards. And
yeah, like my mat would have always cooked as well in our house.
Yeah, and just generally going off like anecdotally of people I know now. Most people in relationships now I know are kind of 50-50 when it comes to cooking. Actually, one of the lads, he cooks all his meals for. He was actually saying he's actually good bake as well. I met up with him there after one of the lockdowns. He made red velvet cake. It was really good, so good.
Yeah, I'd be better at baking than cooking, I think, as well.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I was like, who made this? And he's like, I did. And I was like, Jesus Christ. This is a good cake. Shout out to my friend Miles. Well, yeah. But anyway, your one's name is Barclay. And I don't know if this is actually her name or her handle on TikTok. But basically, she isn't great at cooking. And her husband doesn't like her meals, which he tells her pretty much just after eating every meal that she makes. But despite this, she loves to try. And she woke up one morning and decided she wanted to make her husband pancakes, but with a twist. And she put up the video on TikTok. She didn't, where you get like a, not spatula, what do you call it, that thing, the giant ladle. She got a ladle. And and she just tossed in any amount of mix. It was lumpy. It wasn't even. She didn't try to spread it out. It didn't comes in the whole pan. There wasn't enough mix if you wanted to make. She didn't do a great job. And then she just, while it was still liquid, she put chocolate sauce and cinnamon on either sides of it. Just kind of didn't even mix it around. And it's something that you probably should put on afterwards anyway. Then the service showed that what it looked like after, and didn't look too appetizing. And her husband was beside her, and she's like, "Oh, I made you pancakes," and he's like, "Oh, I might eat it later," and then just walks out of the room. And she I think she tried to make him a fry, and the fry spelled out love, and with the blueberries she made a U, which O was an egg, and the scraggly part of an egg, if you fry an egg, it kind of there's this weird kind of scraggly weird, just
shitty bit.
Yeah, that's what the entire egg looked like.
Oh.
It's like an egg with that scraggly edgy part around it, and it looked like it wasn't cracked. She lost a bit of the egg along the way, and so that was the O. The sausages were butchered when she tried to cut them up, because she obviously tried to make most of the words the L of the sausages, and it didn't look the most appetizing thing. Every time there's a meal, she wants to make her husband a meal. She, like I said, she's not needed to do it because she kind of knows she's bad at it. She dedicated her entire TikTok account to her making her husband's meals, going through a demo of what she did to cook it, and then her husband's reaction. And her husband's reaction is never "Oh, delicious, babe." It's more "Oh, do I have to eat this?"
Hey, why did she bother?
I don't know. Did you ever know anybody that was a really bad cook, but people try to flatter them, and go, "Oh yeah, oh lovely," or they just hated their meals?
Not really.
No, not really. Generally, in the households that I ever knew, people who cook, it was their job because they knew how to cook.
And I see, I'm kind of fussy as well where I'll eat.
Oh, is it for this reason?
If I think you're going to cook shit, I'm not going to eat there.
Yeah, it is kind of nerve-wracking when you're going over to somebody's house and they're making a meal and you're going to have to eat it, and it's just it's awful. And especially if you're going too slow, they're "Oh, did you not like your meal?" And you're "No,
yeah,
I had."
It tastes like shit.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to get through it. Yeah, I think there was one case, I can't remember, but someone made me a meal and it was painfully obvious that I didn't like it. I didn't say anything, but I was very just
did you
tipping away at it, and it's "Oh, is it not? Do you not like it?" And I was I think I just said, I think I'm full. Most of it's still there. I'm not a huge fan of food.
Yeah, I don't eat
food. Yeah, but yeah, I just hate to be her husband, who's Jonathan. Basically, she doesn't know what she's trying to serve up. Most of the time, it could be she tried Mexican. It didn't look too appetizing. I don't know why he lets her cook. Maybe he can't cook himself or refuses to cook.
Maybe she's home first, or she's home. Maybe she doesn't work, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she just likes to cook.
There's obviously a reason.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I used to like. I've been bad at stuff, but I just like doing it anyway.
That doesn't surprise me.
I just enjoyed doing it, and those wasn't very good. I knew people who who used to love to paint, and they admittedly were really bad at drawing and painting. But I just like to do it. I was like, fair enough. You're not hurting anybody. But yeah, but I guess with cooking, it's kind of something different.
Yeah, you can kind of kill people.
Or people who bake. I know a few of my sisters tried baking before, and they weren't great.
Oh, did you tell them that at the time?
Yes, sisters are good for that because you can be brutally honest. You're their brother. You're meant to be a mean cunt.
Yeah, and aren't you the baby?
No, I'm the middle child, so I'm meant to be
You're the middle
moody.
child.
I'm meant to be
Oh,
moody.
see. Yeah, you're like, you act out because you're the middle child.
I'm the middle child and the only boy, so I have two reasons that I'm acting out.
Yeah. Act out.
Yeah.
All those years of your sisters putting you into dresses.
Or finding me in dresses.
Finding you in dresses.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a family where there's only one boy. He's the youngest kid.
Oh yeah.
And the two oldest girls used to pay him when he was like 6 to go out onto the green in the estate and eat grass and moo like a dog or like a cow.
No, like we're all fairly close in age. Like there's only a year or two between us, so like I don't think we had the night. Like we have one of the youngest is 4 years younger than me, so she was like the baby of the family. But even still, like she wasn't that much younger than us that we can get her to do dumb things. Yeah. So we never got to pick on any of our siblings. We all just killed each other. That's basically it.
You never got to bully younger siblings.
No, just a lot of ganging up. We'd pick the weak one, then we'd gang up on them, and then it'd be, every now and again we'll just take turns of who it was that got tormented. And anyway, we better move on. Talking about tormented, we have a story. It's like a weird segue, or maybe it's the perfect segue about a Tinder date soon. Oh, a guy soon, his Tinder date.
Yeah.
But she tries to also get her own revenge as well.
She got revenge. Yeah, she got revenge on him eventually.
So yeah, So what's the story with this story?
So this girl went on to TikTok. There was some sort of a thing she was following, and you were supposed to share your worst date experience. So her name's Emily McKinnon.
Yeah.
And
where's she from, this girl?
She is from, I think it's America.
All right.
I watched the video. I think she has an American accent.
Cool.
But anyway, so she shared her horrendous experience of the most rubbish date she's ever had. She said that she went out on a date with this guy, and she kind of was like, he's a bit iffy, whatever. And
she was unsure.
Yeah, she was unsure. So she said they matched on Tinder. He was a law student, and they ended up back at his place. It was implied that they were going to have sex, but she never really said, "Oh, like we're going to have sex."
Yeah,
so
she was kind of she kind of lead him on. It was kind of like, "Oh, you coming over to mine?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." So yeah.
So they got back to his house. They started kind of like making out and stuff, and then when he took off his underpants, and she said there was skid marks and a horrible shitty smell, and it was clear that he hadn't washed in like a long time. So she just fucking left. Oh my god! Yeah. So she said she just left. She didn't see him ever again. But she got a letter a few days later, and somebody came up to her and served her with like papers for breaking a verbal contract.
Oh, it's a verbal contract.
Yeah, she doesn't really go into that, but she just says he gave her a letter saying she broke a verbal contract. She was like, "What the fuck?" So she read over the letter and she decided, you know what, I'm going to seek legal advice on it, because he says that she caused him embarrassment and stuff because she spoke about it in her podcast, but she didn't name him or anything, so like, you know, it was hard to identify him. Yeah. She decided she was going to get legal advice on it. So he during their chatting or whatever, he had told her she's a law student, and his dad is a lawyer. So she knew his name, so she looked up his dad.
Yeah.
And she made an appointment with his dad to get legal advice on this letter that his son had sent her. So she basically just went to his dad and told his dad, "Look, your son's suing me."
Here, talk to your fucking shitty son. Literally shitty son. About suing me. And what did the dad say?
The dad said, like, this letter is not like legit. Like, he just typed this up in a fucking laptop in his bedroom.
So he didn't actually get legal advice. I imagine because like you'd have to go into detail. Imagine if you were trying to like what in terms was the agreement.
Yeah, he obviously just thought like because he was studying law that he kind of knew what he's doing. He typed up his own little letter.
Yeah,
but she was like, "What the fuck's it?" Her dad was like, "I just tell him to fuck off."
And then she like then go, "Okay, by the way, this is your son."
Oh yeah, like she told him that it was his son.
Like imagine you were the dad in that situation. How embarrassed you'd be of your son.
Your son has tried to sue some woman.
Surely, hopefully, the dad didn't then charge the girl for the consultation.
I'd say he probably didn't.
Yeah, you imagine that. Well, maybe the dad's a dick, so will that be 50 or 100 or whatever it is for law fees?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just imagine seeing skid marks. Or just being around people who with bad BO, it's like is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Or even bad breath. Yeah. Well, the fact that like it doesn't go into any detail on what the verbal agreement was it around the sex, or was that the verbal agreement? I
would imagine that the verbal agreement was that he understood that they were going to like have sex.
Yeah, but even like
she said it was implied, but like she never actually stated that they were going to have sex.
It's this what she's stating for legal reasons. But like even if like okay, imagine if this does ever get to trial, which it never would, and he was like, yeah, well, she did state quite strongly that like she would have sex with me, and then the judge being like, what? And you didn't put out. Well, that is a misdemeanor. You must have sex with this person. Like no judge in the world is going to say that. His dad's just sitting down. There's a great actually video. It's about 8 minutes long. It's about they talk about consent, but they do it in the form of if you want a cup of tea.
I don't know what's there.
My what you call it, personal hotspot. Disconnected for some reason. Yeah, so that's what happened there. I know what happened. It was on my end. But yeah, what was I saying? There's a video. It's about 8 minutes long that compares consent to a cup of tea, and it does it in such a funny way. It was like there's sometimes you go to somebody's house and they ask you if you want a cup of tea, and you're like, hell yeah, I want a cup of tea. And then the trouble of boiling the kettle, getting a tea bag, and it goes into the process of making tea. Bring the tea out, and you're like, nah, I don't want tea. And yes, that's pain that they don't want a tea, but you can't force a person to drink a tea that doesn't want tea.
Why not?
If that person, you come back and the person falls asleep, and this is very, very important, don't feed them tea. A sleeping person does not need tea. It's a great video. It should be shown in classrooms. It's just funny. It's like a difficult topic, way of getting through a difficult topic like that. But definitely your man needs to see this. Needs to also fucking change his underwear.
Yeah, definitely needs to change his fucking underwear.
It's like even something I remember reading a story about comes to like underwear and how long men hold on to underwear. And I think like experts said you should change swap your underwear out every 6 months, but at the very latest after a year, because of like even when you put it through the wash, there's bacteria that stays there, and there's like men who had underwear for like plus 10 years.
Yeah, I'd say that's easily me.
Easily you, plus 10 years.
Yeah, well, maybe not that long, but like
I don't swap out every
unless it's fucking in ribbons.
Yeah, it's staying.
Like it's not going to be like, you know, your good going out underwear.
Yeah, or a nice girl's coming over underwear.
Yeah, like, well, they don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. Fancy jocks for the ride.
Yeah, it's not going to be like,
But
that.
Yeah, but like surely, especially if you're a single lad or a single lass, you have that kind of special occasion underwear. You know those real fancy underwear that you put on for just in case moments.
For just in case moments. Yeah, what was it? You know that thing like they're like you should always have clean underwear on in case you die.
Or have sex. For lads out there, you should always have, just in case you die, or have sex. Or in a situation where you have to pull down your pants and other people can see your ratty underwear. But yeah, like I think most people, like even like I do regularly get underwear, but like it could be maybe a year between, and then I'll swap out some the older ones, get knocked off the list. I wouldn't have a full set of new underwear every year, but like there's a gradual rotation out.
Yeah, no, once it goes ratty, it's gone.
Yeah,
other than that, like,
they don't fit. A lot of times they just shrink and then they get rid. I have to get rid of them then. But
yeah, well, I'm going to say it's shrunk, but like recently, like since lockdown, I've put on a lot of weight.
Yeah, shrunk. God,
so, like, it definitely shrunk.
Yeah, so I think we need to like definitely change the topic. Now that we're talking about Ken's dirty underwear, went through other people's own dirty underwear, both metaphorically and physically, and maybe just need to move off the topic of dirt and onto a more lighter, uplifting topic. And this is around people doing pretty cool things. And this is our first, I guess, segment of Legends of the Week. We had like where randomly say, "Oh, this guy's a Legend of the Week," and this segment of the show is created for legends. No, it's not.
By legends.
And it's about people doing pretty cool things. But this first one is about a guy who maybe it looked like he possibly could have been on holidays, but anyway, he was in a restaurant with his girlfriend when the restaurant was held up by a man wearing a motorcycle helmet and armed with a gun. And he went around tables and took people's wallets. The guy, the heroine of the story, was caught on CCTV footage eating his wings at the time and didn't seem too bothered by the whole ordeal. Even when the guy was pointing the gun at him, demanding his wallet, he helped his girlfriend get her purse and phone, handed it over him while trying to take the last bit of meat off the wings, and just basically casually got into his pocket, picked up a wing, was eating the wing while passing back like it was like your man looking for the remote control of the TV, and basically gave zero fucks to the fact that he was currently being robbed and was more interested in eating his lovely chicken wings.
As you would be.
But there are people like that. And I gotta admire people who, like, the world could be falling from underneath their feet and they just don't get startled. They just like, meh, whatever, and they just go roll with it.
I work with, obviously working in a shop, occasionally from time to time you get held up. And I've been like held up at knife point quite a bit. But there's like this owl one that works with me. Like she's old. Like she's fucking near retirement age. Like she's probably 64, 65.
Yeah.
And she was there when we got robbed before. Her reaction to being robbed was when the guy came in and was like, open the tail, she's like, fuck off. And like she's the most harmless owl one ever.
And what did your man say to that?
He didn't know what to do. Like he was just like,
this is not how it goes. No, give me it. No, I'm not.
Yeah, this is not how this is supposed to go down.
You give me money, you be startled. I leave with money.
Yeah.
And then what did the guy do after that? Did he just leave? It's like, all right.
No, he just like said it to her again. He's like, give me the fucking money, like. And
stop
she's
being
like,
bitch.
Then she said, like, she was like, what the fuck am I doing? She's like, yeah, okay.
What am I doing? Fuck off. He has a knife. Give me the fucking money. No. Stab. I have a brilliant story about one person I know who was working in a shop, when it was being robbed. And at the time of it being robbed, he was drawing a cat. So the guys came in and was like, I think they were just fleecing the place. They didn't hold him up. I don't know if they were like taking, didn't have like having a knife to him, like asking him for money or that. They were just fleecing the place. So he paid no attention to them, like clearly robbing the place, and continued to draw his picture of the cat. One of the people, who were robbing the shop, noticed that he was fidgeting with a piece of paper. So it was like man questioned him on what he was doing. Man was like, "Oh, nothing, just drawing," and man didn't believe him, so he had to show the picture. He's like, "I'm just drawing a cat," and man just didn't believe he was just drawing a cat. So he made him show him drawing a cat. The man said he looked at the photo, looked back at him angrily and kind of confused, looked at the photo, looked at him, paused for a second, and just left. And went about his day. I'm pretty sure the lad I know just went back, drawn the cat, and just paid no attention.
Like your first time being held up is the worst. Like after that, you're kind of like, it's okay. I've been here before. I know what to do.
Yeah, you know the protocol at this stage. You're like, okay.
Like the last time I got held up, like managers carry panic alarms.
Yeah.
And the last time I got like held up, the guy was like looking at me. He's about 2 feet away from me, looking at me, and I like put my hand into my pocket, pressed the panic alarm while looking at him. He knew I did it. I obviously knew I did it, and then I proceeded to walk to the checkout where I pressed the second one, and walked to a different checkout where I pressed the third one.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "There's 2 of them," so like he just kept saying to the other guy, "Hurry the fuck up! Like we need to leave! Like hurry the fuck up!"
Yeah, but anyway, this guy, like, maybe he works in a shop. He's been robbed so many times. He's like, okay, here you go, lads. I'm gonna have to cancel these, but okay, this is a minor inconvenience in my life. I'm insured. But yeah, just didn't give any fucks. The next, like, I don't know where this one happened, but in the next one, it's in Australia, and it's about a guy who was at a cricket game when the ball was hit into the audience. While holding a beer, he managed to catch the ball and with one hand without spilling his beer. Now, like, I'm pretty sure in Australia doing this is like basically allows you to be president of Australia, of the whole entire of Australia, emperor if you want, because it's such a like
prime minister.
Basically, such a legend thing to do over there is be able to hold it, not spill beer and catch a fast speeding object. It's so impressive. I'm pretty sure 2 women who've seen it on action replay actually got pregnant from just the sight of it. They were so impressed. This spectacular event happened at an Aussie Big Bash League game.
Of course it did. When
the ball came zooming towards the audience, I think the game was against Perth Scooters, and it was hit by a baller. I think that's what you call the person who hits the ball, or batter. I think it would be batter. Baller would be the guy who chose it, surely. Batter called Austin Turner, who hit the ball towards the audience. So obviously this is a big game. It was on TV, and it was actually commentated. Your man catching was actually commentated by the guy who was commentating on the game. So he first commentated on your man who hit the ball, saying whatever he hit the ball. So it is nice work by the guy in the crowd too. He didn't even spill a drop, and then commented on your guys' shirts. But it was also showed it was such an impressive that they were so impressed by it that it was showed, like I said, in an action replay. And in the action replay, you can see another guy diving for the ball and going down, getting his hands ready to catch the ball. And I don't know what your man's name, Tom is your man's name. Tom just casually reaches his hands out, intercepts the ball, and then holds it up as if he was the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. So not only did the action of him catching the ball with one hand without spilling the beer, probably close above the beer, not spilling, and then the ball. Channel 7, which is the equivalent of RTE for people over in Australia. Channel 7 is like Sky News. I don't know. I wouldn't say Fox News, but like a big news channel in America. They are the big guns. Channel 7 interviewed him after this. So he asked him, was he, in fact, a cricketer? That's a hard word to say. Cricketer.
Cricket player.
Cricket player.
Easier.
Does he play cricket? He said he used to play, but his dad was a lot better than him, so he gave up at an early age. Like potential
His
problem.
dad was better.
Yeah, his dad was better than him. He probably, maybe when he was like a child, his dad was better, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm not doing this game anymore. My dad's clearly always going to be better than me at this." Yeah, he said he only came to the game for a few beers. I should actually do this in Australian accent. I only came to the game in a few beers. No, that's like that's more South African. I can't do it. I'm not gonna.
What the fuck was that?
It was like my attempt at an Australian accent. I apologize. Yeah, he only came for a few beers. The ball came my way, so I snapped it up, and I didn't spill a drop.
No, Mark, your Australian accent is the best.
And so, like when questioned about how he didn't drop any beer, he had one word. I'll try to do this in an Australian word. Priorities.
That was definitely not Australian.
What was it then? Priorities.
It's like a fucking computer. It's like, yeah, Google Translate. That's what that was.
Basically, for people who didn't understand, it's priorities. Which is the most Australian response to it. So there was
more Australian response would be crikey.
Well, when asked, crikey wouldn't be an Australian response, so why didn't you drop any of the beers? And he was like, priorities. If that ball came for me, first it would just hit off my hand and bounce away. Then my beer would go over some woman while holding her child, and I'd then tumble down the audience.
Yeah, that's definitely what would happen.
Yeah, so I like, and
none of it would be televised.
No, it would all be televised and be on action replay. Aussie Man Review would commentate on himself.
Yeah, and he'd be doing review of your Australian accent.
Exactly, that too. But yeah, it was such an impressive seat for all of Australia to see, as well as me. I was hugely impressed. I had to make him a legend of the week, and actually, it was because of this man alone, Tom, the most godly gifted Tom that we probably know now, was Legend of the Week. I had to create a segment called Legend of the Week just for Tom, and the other guy in anyway. But it was Tom really was the Legend of the Week.
It must be a thing with Toms. Every Tom I know is legendary.
Really?
Yeah.
What about, so you're more of a Tom than Jerry fan in Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, more of a Tom fan.
Yeah.
Love a good Tom.
Love a good Tom. Hard to come by Toms. Good Tom,
yeah.
Like a properly good Tom.
A good Tom is hard to come by.
Yeah, that is very true. Leave it there. If you know any good Toms, feel free to send them in. Pictures of your legendary Toms and Tomboys of the world. But we've run out of time and we're out of stories. And we'll be back next week with another shite. Probably not as many Toms and more idiots of the week.
Definitely. There might be another Tom.
All right. Ooh, we're not promising a Tom, but there might be a Tom next week if you tune in. If you play your cards right, don't sue us now. Good. Don't sue us now if you do, because
yeah, if you're good, there might be a Tom.
Like sex, we can change the mind about Tom. Talk to you then.
Good luck.
Shut up and sit down.